Dr. Gina Nelson, and I'm back again this week to review with you some of the important precautions in place having to do with the coronavirus pandemic. Briefly, I wanted to talk about how the most important thing we can do to prevent the spread of the virus and to keep the scope of the pandemic manageable is to shelter in place. Now, some of us are in towns that have lockdowns. Others of us have recommendations simply for social distancing. But really, shelter in place is a really good place to be, even if it hasn't been ordered yet. And this means really staying at home as much as possible and making do with one another and restricting your contacts. So this involves all the normal life events. You've got to get supplies and groceries. Many of us are relying on Amazon.com. Amazon Prime, certainly. You can also access resources like Instacart, or you can simply have one designated town person who is the particularly fastidious member of the family who is the best about being quick and not socializing and observing the 6-foot rule and doing the hand washing and the sanitizing and so forth and so on. And that can minimize risk rather than having different people doing it at different times in different ways. About social distancing, I heard a great lecture the other day where they were saying that we should not really be thinking of it as social distancing, but rather distant socializing. And the point being that we should not abandon our friends and family at this stressful and bizarre time. So you can call, or you can use FaceTime or Skype, and you can even play games with your friends. I would suggest Words with Friends, and there's many others. When my son was little, we used to play RuneScape together. If I was ever away or even on call at the hospital, sometimes we would get together in that way. So there's ways to do things. I would like to reiterate some things about hand washing and sanitizing. First, that hand washing is superior 10 times out of 10, and this means hand washing with soap for 20 seconds or more. And then making sure that you're drying on a reasonably clean towel and kind of going from there. Think about everything you touch. This is kind of difficult and kind of burdensome, but it's really important at this time that when you are kind of leaving and entering and before and after the bathroom, before and after cooking, all of those intervals are really important. Now, sanitizer is in short supply. Soap is not. Let me make a point about soap. In my house, we have pump bottles for liquid soap. We don't really use bar soap because it's messy and it causes kind of like extra cleaning. And I'm not going to get expensive sort of aromatherapy infused pump bottle soap. So what we do, because soap is soap, is just use dish soap. We use nice dish soap. It's either unscented or the natural kind, phosphate-free, that just has a little bit of like citrus scent in it. And that is great for these pretty little glass pump bottles that you can get anywhere. And that's what we do. Now, similarly, sanitizer is in short supply, so I've made my own, and you can too. And I'll put this recipe in the show notes at drginanelson.com under the blog posts Real OBGYN. And it's basically isopropyl alcohol, glycerin, hydrogen peroxide, bottled water, and a little bit of essential oil. So basically 12 ounces of isopropyl alcohol. That's also called rubbing alcohol. 2 teaspoons glycerin, a tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide, which maybe you even have around your house, 3 ounces of either distilled or boiled water, a few drops of essential oil for, just pleasure. And you can put this in either a plastic or a glass clean bottle that you've, had from, the products that you've used up and that you've cleaned thoroughly and sanitized. Or if someone is in town and it seems reasonable, you can pick up one of those pretty little glass bottles and use it. I've placed sanitizer in front of my door and in front of my other door because I really feel strongly that even my kids coming in and out should be sanitizing in that manner. So I've also decided that I need a car kit. It's going to be a nice square basket that doesn't tip over. It's going to contain Kleenex, sanitizer, and a garbage bag. Why? Because if I use a Kleenex, it's got to go straight into the garbage bag. And then I've got to use sanitizer right after any use of a Kleenex or potential touching of my face. So one more set of precautions, and then something more interesting. Precautions for a coronavirus infection are fever or cough or shortness of breath, particularly with a history of travel within 14 days to a high-risk area or exposure to a high-risk person. If these are present in a family member or yourself, you should probably call your doctor or call the health department and find out if you need to be screened, or find out, what you're watching for or what the next steps are. Those are the main precautions. Now, for a little treat, I will give you a reference to a great little website called Our World in Data. And so it's ourworldindata.org. And this is a site that everyone should see. It deals in real data, and it deals in the graphic depiction of this data. And it's a real eye-opener, and it's very illuminating. So you should check it out. There's a big section on the coronavirus pandemic, which you can show you why there's such a huge difference when social distancing is employed and when it isn't, how it affects the course of the pandemic. Critical. And then, even better, maybe, is this little site called Kyrgyzstat. It's a German word that means in a nutshell. So it's Kurzgeagt, Kyrgyzstat, and it means nutshell. So they make these cute little videos. They're graphic. They are straightforward. They deal with really high-level topics, break them down really effectively, and you can end up understanding concepts that you would have never imagined yourself understanding. Love the site. Can't recommend it enough. Go there. Again, all this will be in the show notes. So this is it for this week. One more thing. Here I am in my workout outfit, and it's a reminder that just because you're at home doesn't mean you can't work out. It's really good for the morale, obviously good for the body, good for immunity. I happen to work out very inexpensively with a site called beachbody.com. I wish they would give me a commission, but I don't think they do that. Anyway, it's great. I love it. I do it all the time. There's over 600 workouts. I think you pay a single fee. Over the course of a year, it amounts to like $8.25 a month for an infinity of evidence-based workouts that you can do at home with very little to nothing in the way of equipment. So those are your treats, your information bites for the week. So be safe, take care, and thanks for listening.